All right, guys, so let's go over our midday market recap for today. This is the last day of July, so finishing up another month here, and today is the 140th trading day of the year, which is exciting. That means we've got about 100 days left. I usually have right around 250, 251 trading days each year. I'm over here looking for my pen so I can take notes on my trades for today, but I don't seem to have one. So that's okay. I'll write things down when I find my pen later. But anyways, so today is kind of interesting because on the gap scanner, we didn't have a lot that I was super interested in. Leading gapper that was within my price range was, um, what was it? And it's like on the tip of my tongue. NXTD was our leading gapper, and this one you can see here pre-market. It had a nice little pre-market consolidation under 190, looked decent, but the bell rang, and I saw Sam, who's a moderator in the chat room. He got in this right down here at 175, anticipating the break of 180. Pops up to a high of 184. Boom, locks up the profit, and that was the easiest trade of the day on this one. It was not an easy one. So he did a good job capitalizing on that one opportunity. It was definitely a stock that was likely to give you one or two opportunities, and he got it. So good job to him on that one. Right out of the gates, I was watching MYO. This was the first one I had on watch, and you can see again pre-market flagging around $11, a little bit of a pullback, and so I was like, okay, this looks decent for an opening range breakout. So I jumped in this at 10.50 with 2,000 shares. Getting in for the break of the $0.50, thinking that this might quickly pop right up and retest $11. It popped up to 10.60 and then dropped to 9.60. I stopped out of that with a $407 loss. I took smaller size and stopped out quickly, but just was like, wow, that was ugly. Now, MYO was a recent IPO, and these stocks are very volatile. They can be very volatile, so they can move up a lot or they can move down a lot, and you don't always know which way they're going to go, especially when you get in at the apex point. When you get in at a breakout point and the breakout fails, it can turn around really quickly. So that was my first trade of the day, and I went right into the red. And so I was like, oh my God, is this going to be my third red day in a row? This is getting really frustrating. What is going on? And then I saw NOVN hit the scanners. And when I saw this hit the scanners, I thought, okay, well, this is a stock that I've traded in the past, and I've done pretty well on it. You can see on the daily, as it was curling up here, there was no resistance, no upside resistance really at all. Had lots of room up towards 11. So when I looked at this, I thought, okay, this looks good. I like it, but there's one problem. And the one problem is that it's very light on volume. So you can see here we had this 1 minute micro pullback. And at this point, where we had this 1 minute micro pullback, I was like, this looks fantastic, but there's less than 100,000 shares of volume. And so I felt like with a stock that's this light on volume, even though it had a lot of potential, it's not fair for me to say, okay, I'm buying this stock because there's not enough liquidity for everyone to get into this trade. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this trade and I'm going to let other people in the room, if they see this setup, because it's obvious, let them take it as well, but I'm not going to call it out. And this will sort of be a test. Let's see if you guys are able to see the setup and take the trade without me pointing it out. So I got in this here for the first 1 minute candle to make a new high. That was an entry just under $6. And we popped up here to a high of 612. 612, and then we dropped right back to 583. And for a moment, I was red on the trade. And I thought, well, I'm just going to go further into the red today. But then it popped up here to 24, squeezed up to 41, and then we had a little micro pullback here under 41. I'll show you on the chart, a little pullback here under 41, and then boom, up to 55. I sold through 55, that move up to 55, and then on this consolidation here at 43. My average entry was just under $6 and my exit was 641. I made a total of $3,337 on that trade. So that trade certainly put me back in the green, finishing the day up here $2,929.99. Now, this is a trade that was really pretty simple. It was a 1 minute micro pullback right here out of the gates. Yes, the volume was light. And because the volume was light, it meant there was a little bit more risk. But this stock had a few things going for it. It had a good float. It had a good daily chart. It had a history of being a former runner. The only thing it didn't have was a good catalyst. And that made me a little nervous. So it was lacking a good catalyst, number one. And number two, the volume was a little on the light side. So I was a little hesitant getting in, but then we ended up getting a 50-cent move. So this kind of goes to show you that even though there are times where you might think, well, the stock is extended, it's already up too much, or there's no catalyst, or something like that. Let's see. So, sorry guys, let me know if you can hear the audio again. You should be able to hear it. So like I said, this goes to show that sometimes you might have light volume, sometimes you might have less than an ideal catalyst, but if you jump in at places like half dollars and whole dollars and you're able to manage your risk with relatively tight stops, you can do pretty well. I felt like I was managing my risk on this with a pretty tight stop because I was getting in at the very beginning of the move. Now, if I had waited for more volume to come in, I would have had to buy at that much of a higher price. And then, my cost basis is higher and my risk is higher because, the downside is that it goes back down to where it started from. So, this was a decent trade and it gets me about $3,000 profit, which is a really nice way to finish the month. A month that overall for me has been a bit on the slow side and has been kind of riddled with a couple of really big red days where I got stubborn or I got frustrated and I let some of my emotions get the best of me, which is always disappointing when that happens, but is probably part of the reality of any trader. If a trader is able to completely 100% separate their emotions from trading, they're doing an incredible job. And even me doing this for years and years, I'm still not always able to. I have some really good months and I have some more slow or frustrating months. The one red month that I have this year was April. And the interesting thing on April is that I was doing pretty well until I lost like $12,000 in the last week. Like, that's kind of ridiculous. I ended up going from up like 8,000 on the month to down 6,000. So that's just kind of a silly thing to do at the very end of the month on the last 2 days of the month, to get super aggressive and to throw away a decent amount of money being stubborn. But it happens, and my hope is that you guys are able to, even at times see me as I'm in those states and recognize, okay, this is a trader who, yeah, he's really successful, he's done a really good job, but you can see he's getting emotional, and hopefully you can learn something from that, both from the good and the bad. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of doing these recaps every single day, is that we don't brush the losses under the carpet. We talk about them. So today is a good day. It's a green day. It's a great end of the month of July, which, as I said, hasn't been the best month. I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 red days in the month. 3 of them were last week, which is really disappointing. But 3 of them were last week, and in total, those 4 red days amount to 12, 14, about $15,000 in losses. Now, I've talked about this before. In the last few years, I've lost over $900,000 trading, and I've made back 1.4 million or something like that, 1.5 million. So if I tallied up every single loss I had this month, obviously it's going to sound like a big number. And if I tallied up every single one of my winners, it's going to sound like a big number. But we talk about what the net is. So it happens for me that on days that I'm red, my accuracy is usually really low, like 33% or lower. So the days when I'm red, I end up just that's when all my losses are. They're kind of grouped together on the red days. And the green days, typically my accuracy is pretty good. I've got, 4 out of 5 success, accuracy green on 4 out of 5 names or 3 out of 4 names. So, on those green days, there might be a loss here or there. Today I have a $400 loss, but generally, the big losses are on those red days, and it's when I have multiple big losses, kind of like back to back to back, and that's when the days get pretty nasty. So I'll finish this month, unfortunately, with less than $10,000 in profit, but I am in the green, and I suppose it's a little disappointing because last June I made $34,000, last July I made $32,000, last August I made $29,000. $96,000 in 3 months. In June, I made like $8,000. Here in July, I'm probably up like $6,000. So it seems like very, very different from last summer. It just happens that momentum has been a little bit slower, and I have to be able to be patient, sit on my hands, not force it. Forcing it is what cost me some money this month. So I probably could have finished this month around 15,000 if I hadn't gotten a little too aggressive. But at the same time, getting aggressive is how I made 70,000 in January. So I guess right now I'm maybe paying my dues for being that aggressive. But that's okay. So tomorrow is August 1st, and I'll finish up this week trading from California, enjoying the warm weather. It's really warm here. And then next week I'll be back on the East Coast. So hopefully we'll have a good, strong month of August. I'll do a little bit of, momentum, a little bit of reversals. Just keep looking for the opportunities and stay focused on A-quality setups as much as I can. All right, so that's the game plan here. I hope you guys all had a decent morning, and I will see you first thing tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Okay, I'll see you guys soon.
Oh hey, I didn't see you there. Well, I was just working on the dream board for my next home run trade. Hopefully it comes soon. Until then, make sure you subscribe to get email alerts anytime I go live or upload new videos. Until then, happy surfing